thank you for joining with me. We are in A Course in Miracles workbook for students, part 1 of the workbook, lesson 132. I loose the world from all I thought it was. What keeps the world in chains but your beliefs, and what can save the world except yourself? Belief is powerful indeed. The thoughts you hold are mighty, and illusions are as strong in their effects as is the truth. A madman thinks the world he sees is real and does not doubt it, nor can he be swayed by questioning his thoughts' effects. It is but when their source is raised to question that the hope of freedom comes to him at last. 2:11. Their source probably refers to the source of his thoughts, which would be his mind. The next paragraph twice calls his mind the source of his thoughts. Since that paragraph refers to changing one's mind, in other words, changing one's ideas, raising the mind to question basically means questioning the mind's ideas. Yet is salvation easily achieved, for anyone is free to change his mind, and all his thoughts change with it. Now the source of thought has shifted, for to change your mind means you have changed the source of all ideas you think or ever thought or yet will think. You free the past from what you thought before. You free the future from all ancient thoughts of seeking what you do not want to find. The present now remains the only time. Here in the present is the world set free. For as you let the past be lifted and release the future from your ancient fears, you find escape and give it to the world. You have enslaved the world with all your fears, your doubts and miseries, your pain and tears, and all your sorrows press upon it and keep it a prisoner to your beliefs. Death strikes it everywhere because you hold the bitter thought of death within your mind. The world is nothing in itself. Your mind must give it meaning, and what you behold upon it are your wishes acted out so you can look on them and think them real. Perhaps you think you did not make the world, but came unwillingly to what was made already, hardly waiting for your thoughts to give it meaning. Yet in truth you found exactly what you looked for when you came. There is no world apart from what you wish, and herein lies your ultimate release. Change but your mind on what you want to see, and all the world must change accordingly. Ideas leave not their source. This central theme is often stated in the text. 212 footnote. Ideas do not leave the mind which thought them in order to have a separate being. Ideas leave not their source and their effects but seem to be apart from them. Ideas are of the mind. What is projected out and seems to be external to the mind is not outside at all, but an effect of what is in and has not left its source. And there's a list of references. Okay, so this central theme is often stated in the text, as we saw below, and must be borne in mind if you would understand the lesson for today. It is not pride which tells you that you made the world you see and that it changes as you change your mind. But it is pride that argues you have come into a world quite separate from yourself, impervious to what you think and quite apart from what you chance to think it is. There is no world. This is the central thought the Course attempts to teach. Not everyone is ready to accept it, and each one must go as far as he can let himself be led along the road to truth. He will return and go still further, or perhaps step back a little while, then return again. And just in pausing here, I can completely relate to that whole paragraph. It took me a while. I kept two-stepping. But healing is the gift of those who are prepared, and not to say I don't still do that, by the way, but healing is the gift of those who are prepared to learn there is no world and can accept the lesson now. Their readiness will bring the lesson to them in some form which they can understand and recognize. Some see it suddenly on point of death and rise to teach it. This may be a reference to near-death experiences which first gained public awareness in 1975, 5 years after this material was dictated, through the book Life After Life by Raymond Moody. Near-death experiences share many features with the scenario described above. They are life-changing experiences that take place on the brink of death, in which the person sometimes sees that But healing is the gift of those who are prepared to learn there is no world and can accept the lesson now. Their readiness will bring the lesson to them in some form which they can understand and recognize. Some see it suddenly on point of death and rise to teach it. This may be a reference to a near-death experience which first gained public awareness in 1975, 5 years after this material was dictated, through the book Life After Life by Raymond Moody. Near-death experiences share many features with the scenario described above. They are life-changing experiences that take place on the brink of death, in which the person sometimes sees that the world is an illusion, after which the person then recovers, sometimes miraculously, and filled with a sense of mission, often teaches others the truths that he or she learned in the experience. All of these features are reflected on the sentence above, in the sentence above. It is true that nothing in that sentence identifies the insight gained on point of death as coming from an otherworldly experience, but this may simply be to distinguish this item from the next item in the list, which features experience that is not of this world. Others find it in experiences that is not of this world, which shows them that the world does not exist, because what they behold must be the truth, and yet it clearly contradicts the world. This appears to be a reference to mystical experiences in which a person reports having a direct experience of true reality, without the meditation of the senses and outside of ordinary consciousness. The mystic commonly experiences a fundamental unity with and between all things, and the certainty that this oneness is what is truly real, more real than real. In contrast to this, the physical world, including separation, time, form, and evil, is revealed to be a mere shadow, or even altogether illusory. There's a lot of footnotes in this lesson, which is great. Okay, let's move on. And some will find it in this course and in the exercises that we do today. Today's idea is true because the world does not exist. And if it is indeed your own imagining, then you can loose it from all things you ever thought it was by merely changing all the thoughts that gave it these appearances. The sick are healed as you let go of all thoughts of sickness, and the dead arise when you let thoughts of life replace all thoughts you ever held of death. Matthew 10:8. Heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out devils. Freely ye have received, freely give. I'm like, where am I? I keep losing my spot. 2:15. Okay. A lesson earlier repeated once must now be stressed again, for it contains the firm foundation for today's idea. You are as God created you. 2:16, lesson 94 and 110. There is no place where you can suffer and no time that can bring change to your eternal state. How can a world of time and place exist if you remain as God created you? What is the lesson for today except another way of saying that to know yourself is the salvation of the world. To free the world from every kind of pain is but to change your mind about yourself. There is no world apart from your ideas, because ideas leave not their source, and you maintain the world within your mind in thought. Yet if you are as God created you, you cannot think apart from Him, nor make what does not share His timelessness and love. Are these inherent in the world you see? Does it create like Him? Unless it does, it is not real, and cannot be at all. If you are real, the world you see is false, for God's creation is unlike the world in every way. And as it was His thought by which you were created, so it is your thoughts which made it and must set it free. 2:17. The final two occurrences of it here, made it and must set it free, refer to the world. See the end of the previous sentence. Sorry. Gosh. All right, so, and as it was His thought by which you were created, so it is your thoughts which made it and must set it free, that you may know the thoughts you share with God. Release the world. Your creations wait for this release to give you fatherhood, not of illusions, but as God in truth. God shares His fatherhood with you who are His son, for He makes no distinctions in what is Himself and what is still Himself. What He creates is not apart from Him, and nowhere does the Father end, the Son begin as something separate from Him. There is no world because it is a thought apart from God and made to separate the Father and the Son and break away a part of God Himself, and thus destroy His wholeness. Can a world which comes from this idea be real? Can it be anywhere? Deny illusions, but accept the truth. Deny you are a shadow briefly laid upon a dying world. Release your mind, and you will look upon a world released. Today, our purpose is to free the world from all the idle thoughts we ever held about it, and about all living things we see upon it. They cannot be there no more than we, for we are in the home our Father set for us along with them. And we, who are as He created us, would loose the world this day from every one of our illusions, that we may be free. Begin the 15-minute periods in which we practice twice today with this. I who remain as God created me, would loose the world from all I thought it was. For I am real, because the world is not, and I would know my own reality. Then merely rest, alert but with no strain, and let your mind in quietness be changed so that the world is freed along with you. You need not realize that healing comes to many brothers far across the world, as well as to the ones you see nearby, as you send out these thoughts to bless the world. But you will sense your own release, although you may not fully understand as yet that you could never be released alone. Throughout the day, increase the freedom sent through your ideas to all the world, and say, whenever you are tempted to deny the power of your simple change of mind, I loose the world from all I thought it was, and choose my own reality instead. Now I am picking up the review by Robert Perry and Alan Watson. Lesson 132, I loose the world from all I thought it was. The purpose of this lesson is to free the world from all the idle thoughts we ever held about it, and about all living things we see upon it, that we may be free. The practice period's 2 times for 15 minutes. I will do a separate meditation. Begin by repeating, I who remain as God created me, would loose the world from all I thought it was. For I am real because the world is not, and I would know my own reality. The rest of the practice period sounds like workbook meditation to me, in which we place our minds in a state of rest, alert but with no strain. Based on the lines we repeat, this exercise reminds me of a couple of other lessons, 128 and 188, in which we have a sense of withdrawing our mind from its focus on the outer world and drawing it inward to the quiet center, where we rest, where our thoughts are transformed, and where we experience our true reality. You will sense your own release, but you may not realize that your release will also set free the world, bringing healing to many brothers far and near. Any response to temptation whenever you believe that your thoughts have no power to help the troubling situations we see around us. When you notice such a thought, repeat, I loose the world from all I thought it was and choose my own reality instead. It will be helpful to memorize this lesson. Realize that by doing so, you are unleashing your mind's power to free the world and adding to the freedom you gave in the longer practice period. Commentary. To me, today, the point of this lesson is, I have the power to do that. I can loose the world from all I thought it was, simply by changing my own mind. The lesson contains what is perhaps the most startling statement in the Course. There is no world. This is the central thought the Course attempts to teach. I had a really difficult time with that. I think for years I just kind of ignored it. I didn't believe it, I don't know how I even did practice A Course in Miracles without believing that, but it's funny. I'm showing you my puppies while I talk. But it's funny how that really bothered me. Greta! It really bothered me, and I wasn't able to comprehend it. And I see that in my husband now. It's really cool to watch it because I understand. Anyway, he gets A Course in Miracles by proxy. All right, so where was I? The lesson admits that not everyone is ready to accept this idea, although it makes clear that all of us will eventually accept it. Such acceptance could take many lifetimes, I think, and doubtless we have gone through many already to get wherever we are. This is my own opinion, not necessarily that of the Course. In speaking of this, in the analogy of a madman, the first paragraph says that no madman can be swayed by questioning his thoughts' effects. From the perspective of the Course, it is the world that is the effect of our thoughts. So the approach that will lead us eventually to understand that there is no world does not follow the path of directly questioning the reality of the world. That is a fruitless approach, as fruitless as trying to persuade a madman that his hallucinations are not real. The approach that bears fruit is raising the source to question, that is, in questioning the thoughts that produce the hallucinations. Change but your mind on what you want to see, and all the world must change accordingly. As we begin to allow thoughts of healing to flow through us, we open ourselves to learn the lesson. Their readiness will bring the lesson to them in some form which they can understand and recognize. The focus for us, then, is not on denying the reality of the world, but on opening our minds to bring healing to the world we see. Doing so will bring us experiences that will convince us that the world is not as real as we supposed. That was my experience too. We may have a near-death experience. We may undergo some experience of enlightenment that shows us an incontrovertible reality that contradicts all that we have believed to be reality up until that time. We may in fact experience something in doing today's exercises that will bring us our awakening. The unreality of the world dawns upon us as we begin to grasp the reality of ourself. To know yourself is the salvation of the world. If we are as God created us, then what appears to change us cannot exist. It cannot be real. There cannot be a place where we can suffer, or time to bring change to us. The world is the effect of our thoughts and nothing more. You maintain the world within your mind in thought. So you maintain the world within your mind in thought. As we discover what we truly are by allowing love to move through us in healing, we realize that if you are real in the world you see if you are real, the world you see is false, for God's creation is unlike the world in every way. We release the world from what we thought about it by accepting our oneness with God and realizing that the world as we see it cannot be real because it does not reflect this truth. What He creates is not apart from Him, and nowhere does the Father end and the Son begin as something separate from Him. To loose the world is to heal it. The meditation for today is one in which we send out these thoughts to bless the world. I loose the world means that I extend healing to all the world. I free it from suffering. I absolve it from guilt. I heal it of sickness. I lift all thoughts of vengeance from it. It is taking this role as Savior to the world that reveals ourself to us and transforms our thoughts and in turn the world that is their effect. This is the power of your simple change of mind. Thank you for joining with me. I love you.